Russia's aggression was the trigger of an international armed conflict, characterized now by escalating violations with catastrophic consequences for the people of Ukraine, such as in Borodianka, where at least 40 civilians were killed in disproportionate and indiscriminate attack, or in Bucha, where Amnesty International documented 22 cases of unlawful killings. Let me be clear. Extrajudicial execution committed in an international armed conflict constitute war crimes. Indiscriminate and disproportionate airstrikes carried out with criminal intent are also war crimes. The evidence we have gathered since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began in late February 2022. It implicates Russian military forces in serious violations of international law, including extrajudicial killings, disproportionate indiscriminate attacks against civilians, including in densely populated areas. There is a lot of politicization of justice, and we really need to preserve the Ukrainian people from it.
Past 4 weeks, I've been spending time in different parts of the country, especially in the area north of Kyiv, in some of the places that perhaps many of you have visited. One of those places is Borodianka, where I think many of you will have seen the very dramatic images of the buildings that were struck. And so I've spent time to try and investigate what happened, how it happened, why were people still in the buildings when they were bombarded. So there were 8 buildings that were struck in 3 separate attacks, each attack consisting of a number of airstrikes. And in 6 of those buildings, people, civilians who lived in those buildings, many of whom had lived in those buildings for decades, since the buildings were built in the 80s, died. More than 40 people died. The pattern was that in the first building that was struck, each time, that is where the greatest number of victims were. Many of the people who died in those buildings were in the basement, in the cellars, the one place that they thought they would be safe.